On today's Solo Sunday News, we've an update on two possible new Bloodline members. A wrestling legend is set to appear at NXT Roadblock. There's more matches have been added to the AEW Revolution card. And what is going on with Stokely Hathaway? Hello and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling, the Solo Sunday News with myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. I hope your weekend is going as well as possible. Right, let's get things started off today with the Bloodline. Well, kind of the Bloodline. I guess Solo Sikoa's group is still just about the Bloodline, even if there's growing friction between Solo and Jacob Fatu. Also, while we're talking about the Bloodline, actually, if you've had early access to WWE 2K25, let us know in the comments how you're getting on. I've been dabbling away at that myself the past few days, so we will be having a full video review on the channel shortly. Not to mention there'll be a bunch of great WWE 2K25 articles over on WhatCulture.com in the coming days and weeks. But yes, the Bloodline. Now, going back to Roman Reigns' ruling the roost with Solo, the Usos, Sami Zayn, there have been constant rumblings, even back then, of new members being added to the Bloodline. And those rumblings have continued through to this very day, not least because two potential Bloodline members have long been signed to WWE by this point. Those two are Hikuelo and Lance Anoa'i. Now, for those maybe not familiar with those talents, Hikuelo is the 6'8" brother of Tama Tonga, adopted brother of Tonga Loa, adopted son of Haku. Hikuelo is also a former member of Bullet Club, a former IWGP Tag Team Champion, a former New Japan Strong Tag Champion, and a former New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. And he's been signed with WWE since last summer, but there's obviously yet to appear. As for Lance Anoa'i, he's the son of Samu. Now, Samu, of course, is one half of the Head Shrinkers, one half of the Samoan SWAT team with Fatu, or Rikishi, as you may know him better by. In fact, as a quick side as well, I've had a bunch of fun already seeing the Head Shrinkers in WWE 2K25. Which I think is their first video game appearance since maybe Rage in the Cage back on the Sega CD in like 1993, 1994. Anyway, Lance Anoa'i is the son of Samu, and he's someone who's done occasional enhancement matches for WWE over the years. Someone who also had a pretty solid run in MLW for a spell, for a good few years, in fact. And Lance is another who signed with WWE last year, but has not been seen yet. In fact, there were reports, I think it was last month, or might have been January, that he could well be a part of the new WWE Evolve show that's premiering imminently. Or did it premiere last week? I don't know. I know Tubi internationally, we don't get it on Tubi, which is very annoying because I like a bit of Tubi. Anyway, as for the status of Hikuelo and Lance Anoa'i, Fightful has somewhat an update on the two of those. For Lance, he was signed last summer but suffered an unspecified injury. And as for a return time from that injury, it was originally expected that he'd be on the sidelines until basically round about now. So realistically, Lance Anoa'i could be back in action imminently. Could be on Evolve as soon as next week, who knows? And again, with the launch of Evolve, that could give him a chance to find his footing in WWE, get himself back into the groove of just, working after being out injured for so long, and also to establish himself to WWE audiences, albeit the smaller audience that Evolve brings with it, because, we're not talking main roster views, we're not talking NXT viewership. Evolve is very much a different beast to all of that. And now as for Hikuelo, the update on him is that, yeah, he was signed last year, but Fightful has heard pretty much nothing since. So it's a non-update update, I guess. But hey, it's a slow Sunday here. Give me a break. Now, while Lance Anoa'i, he seems like for him it'd be penciled into Evolve could work well. But if you look at Hikuelo, that I think for him he's got far more of a chance of just heading right to the main roster, being paired with his brothers. In fact, it could be that the Bloodline once again undergoes a reshape with Jacob Fatu calling the shots. And maybe that reshape would be the perfect time to bring in Hikuelo. Much like the aftermath of WrestleMania 40, that saw Solo seize control of the Bloodline, bringing Tama Tonga, then Tonga Loa, then the absolute beast, that is Jacob Fatu. I will never get bored of seeing Jacob getting some love, getting the spotlight that his talent has long deserved, man. If you've watched this channel over the years, you'll have heard me banging on about Jacob Fatu for years, about just how the dude was absolutely killing it in MLW and beyond, in House of Glory as well. In fact, we did a predictions video, I think it was at the start of last year, and I went bold with Jacob Fatu will become your favourite wrestler. And that is kind of paying off. But yes, consider me intrigued to see what changes we could see in the Bloodline, should this Fatu and Solo stuff lead to Fatu taking over the Bloodline. But with those changes seeming likely for after WrestleMania, before WrestleMania, we've got the small matter of NXT Roadblock this coming Tuesday. Now, on that matter, Fightful Select reports that the legendary Meiko Satomura is scheduled to be at Roadblock. Now, as it happens, Meiko's most recent televised WWE match, that was at Roadblock in 2023, so 2 years ago, where she lost in the main event to NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. That was the match, if you remember, where Post-match, Roxanne collapsed and was rushed out to hospital, and then blah, 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 blah. There was the whole, she was stripped of the title. But Meiko also did wrestle last summer on a non-televised live event at WWE Tour of Japan, where she wrestled against Bayley. Now, for those unaware, Meiko Satomura is currently on her retirement tour. Yes, we've got John Cena on his retirement tour. Yes, there's whatever's going on with Jeff Jarrett in AEW. But Meiko Satomura is another veteran of the game who is calling time on her career this year. That final match of her career, in fact, it is set for April the 29th for Sendai Girls, which is literally, 6 weeks away from this recording, 7 weeks away. And that will bring an end to a 30-year career. Now, Jordan Grace posted a picture of Meiko at the WWE Performance Center just a couple of days ago, literally 2 or 3 days ago. And Fightful has followed up on that to say, yes, Meiko Satomura is due to be at NXT Roadblock, though it's not known in what capacity. I mean, could she be shown on screen, backstage? Could she be watching from the crowd? Could she get physical? I mean, heck, could we even be setting up for one final Meiko Satomura match in WWE before she hangs up her boots? Or could she not be shown in any capacity? And it's just simply she's there backstage to watch the show and enjoy it all, without having to be on TV. I guess we'll have to wait until Tuesday to find out, but that card is looking pretty stacked for Roadblock. I'm very much looking forward to that. And also on Tuesday, just to add as well, Fightful, this report confirms that as of now, so these plans can always change, but as of now, the winner takes all match between Julia and Stephanie Vaquer is planned to main event Roadblock, and that one is shaping up to be a very, very tasty match. But before we get to NXT Roadblock on Tuesday, though, we've also got the small matter of AEW Revolution later today, yes. Now, historically, one of AEW's biggest events of the year. And already with you look at the card, it is absolutely ridiculously stacked. But of course, we've had a couple of extra matches added to that card now because, hey, why not? Well, technically, to be fair, they are to the 0 hour pre-show, meaning that the main card is now 9 matches and the 0 hour is another 4 matches, which is that's quite a lot of wrestling. As for those new matches, Chris Jericho will defend the ROH World title against Gravity, which is something. We've also got an 8-man tag match where Daniel Garcia, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong take on Shane Taylor Promotions. Because what would an AEW show be without at least one 8-man tag? And let's face it wouldn't be any surprise that by the time 0 hour gets going later today, if maybe another match or two has been added. I do feel now and again like that grumpy old man shouting at a cloud, but just give me a succinct 6-match pay-per-view any day of the week. I'd be happy with that. Still, I may be shouting at those clouds, but Revolution, it does have so many great matchups. I mean, you've got Timeless Tony and Mariah May, you've got MJF and the Hangman, you've got Swerve Strickland and Ricochet, you've got Ospreay and Kyle in a cage, you've got Kenny and Takeshita, but then it's also one of those pay-per-views where I once again find myself not caring whatsoever about the men's world title picture. But anyway, one person I do care about, and I thought was in a brilliant role alongside Chris Statlander. That is Stokely Hathaway. Now, Stat has been great for a long time, but the Stat heel turn and having Stokely as a manager, for me, that was just like pitch perfect. It seemed like the great way to get Stat to that next level as a genuine, like, you are going to become women's champion. You can challenge for that belt and you're going to win it. And then, Statlander, after brutalizing her former best pal Willow Nightingale, I mean, the ultimate babyface Willow Nightingale, yeah, Stat just then quietly turned back babyface to feud with Mercedes. In fact, I say that, it wasn't even a turn, it was just like, hey, Statlander is a babyface again with zero real explanation other than, AEW just wanted her to feud with Mercedes. And the matches were great, but how we got there was just like, why? Anyway, for those wondering, because since then, of course, after switching babyface, Statlander has totally dropped Stokely Hathaway, and he's barely been seen since, All Out back in September, I guess it would be. And for those wondering where Stokely has been, Fightful Select, there's a brief update on that, saying that he's simply been taking some time off. But for me, I mean, if Stokely Hathaway is fit and healthy, I am having him on my TV every single week. The dude is just ridiculously entertaining. Such a great fit as the cocky, trash-talking heel manager who has that, the beefy, brutish wrestler to stand behind. Case in point, Chris Statlander was perfect, man. That was such a great mix. But anyway, there we are. I will admit it's a relatively slow news day here on this Sunday. And hey, it's not every Sunday you have to report on one of the biggest heel turns in wrestling history, with last Sunday, of course, being the immediate fallout of John Cena's turn at the Chamber. So sometimes those Sundays are a little slower. But either way, this has been WhatCulture Wrestling. I'm Andrew Ballard. You be sure to have the best possible day, and I will catch you next weekend.